This week on Restore to Explore, we're honouring the life and legacy of Robert Fliri, a true pioneer in the barefoot movement and the creator of Vibram FiveFingers. Robert's vision changed the way people think about footwear, bringing them closer to nature with every step. Tragically, Robert passed away last week while descending an ice wall with some friends in the Italian Alps. He was not just a designer, but a passionate and experienced mountaineer, deeply connected to the natural world he sought to bring people back to through his work. Robert appeared on our podcast late last year, and as a tribute, we're re-releasing some of that conversation, one that captures his passion, innovation, and philosophy on movement. In this snippet, Robert responds to the backlash targeted towards his designs in the early days, how far the barefoot movement has come since, and what he believes it will take for foot health to become a priority in our modern culture. This would tragically prove to be his final public interview. His impact on the world of footwear and natural movement will live on through his designs and the countless people he has inspired. Let's take a moment to reflect on Robert Fliri's incredible legacy.
The problem with our community or our culture is we have a lot of access to information. And you, from the Foot Collective side, know how to do it well, the communication. But that means people has access to so much knowledge. But at the end of the day, nobody of us has the patience to invest time and brain power as well as time for building up muscles and tendons and respect that kind of lead time in order to get the best out of it. And therefore, I truly believe doing barefoot shoes or making game changers should always go with the proper education. That's the takeaway what I got by this avalanche that came over us in the early days in our American operations, especially our American operations. And I still believe this is a huge challenge in our culture to be able to people to tell how important this is, to get aware who you are today. And if you switch something in your gear or in your approach, how to move, how important it is to take it easy, to really listen to yourself, to make the choices they are good for you. And if you are a natural, really elastic young guy with a lot of adaptability still, you can maybe ask for faster progression towards a goal. And maybe if you are older or you have more limits, you need to find your way. And that's the tricky thing in this world. Everybody wants to have quick fixes. Tell me how to run, forefoot, midfoot, or whatever. And I can just say, your body in the situation you are in will tell you. You have this deep brain here. This is so smart to deal with almost everything. If you connect to the ground, almost like barefoot, without foam levels or things.
I think in the footwear industry, we're in a really interesting situation. And you mentioned food. It's a really good example. If you change your diet to healthy, organic, natural food, or maybe an even better example is alcohol. If you stop drinking alcohol straight away, you can actually die. Your body will shut down because it's become so addicted to the alcohol. But inherently, we know, like with smoking, like with junk food now, that these things are bad for us. But I think what we saw, and we only know those things now because the education is so deeply rooted and so widely spread now about the dangers and the negative impacts of those things, that even if we sort of have a bad reaction after going to healthy food, we still know that the healthy food is good for us. I think what we saw with Vibram was it all happened too fast for that education to reach the masses. And so people want something to blame just as much as they want that pill when something doesn't work. They want to be able to point the finger, and it's not my body that's wrong, or it's not something I did, but it's the thing that I adopted that is to blame for my issues. And I think it's been a pretty big journey for the barefoot and the natural foot health movement over the last 10 years, 20 years or almost now, to try and reverse that avalanche and really win people back over. And I find that's where the Foot Collective and the community that we've built of practitioners and people around the world, and the brands that we've connected with, like Vibram and a lot of other smaller natural footwear brands. There's a real team effort going on here to collectively educate people first. And it's really difficult, like you say, on social media and the way that we communicate these days to get across that nuance. Like, people don't want to watch a video that tells them that this is going to be slow, you're going to have to take your time, you're going to have to stop doing the same, running loads that you were doing before. It's not what people want to hear. But I think we're in a fortunate position now where we have the power as a collective to really educate as many people as we can about the benefits if you do take that approach. And a lot of that comes down to sharing stories. And I think we come at it from the Foot Collective from quite a different end to where Vibram's five finger movement really started, where you were getting the purists, the barefoot athletes who were the early adopters. The Foot Collective, we're really trying to help people who have been in pain and have experienced the negative effects of 10, 20, 30 years of wearing unnatural footwear. So I think, and I hope that we're on the precipice right now of really shifting that paradigm for good around the way people see their feet and they see shoes. And a lot of that, I hope, is because we've been able to educate people more deeply about the benefits. From where you started with your journey and the realization of this being what people need to wear on their feet, the ups and the downs that you've gone on this journey with Vibram, to where the whole movement is at now, does it feel close? Does it feel close to you? Like we're on a tipping point of, I guess, much wider public adoption and understanding around the importance of shoes that let your feet function naturally?
It depends on a lot of factors. First of all, there are communities in the world or cultures, they are more prone to open up for kind of this natural approach. Like, let's say, Germany, for me, the culture, sometimes North America, Anglo-Saxon culture, Scandinavia. I don't know exactly about Australia. I think this kind of places have, I call the people there, because I living in the middle in between Anglo-Saxon mother culture and a Latin culture, which is the Italian company I'm working for. And therefore I always see, while the typically, and I know this is creating a box around, which is, it's not trying to create boxes, but typically the more South Latin cultures are staying away from suffering and carrying a burden to try to stay more comfortable, while, let's say, the Anglo-Saxon culture guys are more prone to, okay, it's cold, let's fight it, or it's hard, so let's go for it. So I think in these cultures you have a huge potential to reach bigger masses. And then it comes definitively down to a lot of other factors. If we are moving towards a world where people, through education, but also through things like doing yoga or other kind of deeper connection creating activities, are moving closer to feel the body more and also have the richness to spend time with the body or spend time with your body in nature, then I think the potential to succeed with the natural approach of also in footwear, it's pretty high. If we are talking about people, they are more living in a, let's say, virtual world, or we are going from a pretty wealthy, healthy kind of lifestyle we enjoyed as a generation towards something more harder to survive, then maybe the tendency will also have a hard time, because to virtual people, they just consume in a shopping mall. The value of having information from the feed, it's not there, I think. It's there if you move. If you just sit in front of a screen, what's the feed for? If you have to struggle to make a living because you have 2 or 3 jobs and you fall into bed after that completely crashed, or even cannot afford to go outside there, you're just trapped in the city or something, and have no ways to experience your body, for that people it's not related. They have different struggles or goals to cope with. So I think it really depends where you think the world. It's not all the same people having the same opportunities like maybe we have, and that's something we have to respect. I think I do believe basically there's a big value in connecting yourself back to nature, to your own body's capabilities. But not everybody in this world, this 8 billion or how many we are, maybe has the luxury also to be able to focus and spend time on something, even though it's worth, in my opinion.
Yeah, well said. I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective, but I'm really glad that you bring that forward, because you're right. It is going to be so different for so many people, and I guess I'm just very grateful that you came up with that idea one day to try a glove for the feet, because I know personally I wouldn't be in the job that I am in if you hadn't have done that.
I
The
think,
reason,
Mike, honestly, I think Five Fingers is a really visual product in a bigger stream of movement. And therefore, I think the movement, the tendency had already been there before Five Fingers. So therefore, it would have happened anyway. Five Fingers is just really extreme in how it looks, but also extreme in how it works, because there are a lot of sandals, they are looking pretty normal. A lot of barefoot shoes, they are looking pretty normal, but they have more wider toe box and neutral setting. But when it comes really to feeling the ground, I think the glove concept, it's a far kind. It's like a race car in the whole thing, and no compromises. Let's say for me, this is. I mean, I tried so many good barefoot shoes, natural footwear, and in some occasions I really enjoy them because they are just enough for that moment. But if for me in the mountains or in more demanding situations, I want to have it really game on, spot on, a foot glove that properly fits. For me, it's just that step more, that gear more, that's closer to barefoot, where I really can lean onto it and push my body fully. And therefore, I think, yeah, it's an extreme product, but there are so many people working on product side, on education side on it, that I think it's not just Five Fingers alone that led to this kind of natural footwear kind of approach. This had been already here. So
I I think if we'd never seen a Formula One car before, and we happened to spot one driving down the street one day, we would probably think it looked like a very hideous car and a bit of an abomination. But it is the epitome of performance, and we only think that look really cool and powerful because we have, grown up with seeing that type of vehicle develop. And so, yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before we start looking at shoes that are shaped exactly like feet as being respected for what they are. And that is, the ultimate sort of embodiment of human performance for the foot, I believe. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and for riding through the couple of technical glitches we had with you sitting on the mountainside and me in our office in Brisbane, Australia. But it's been an absolute pleasure to chat, mate.
Yeah, that's on my side too. Thank you, Mac. And if whenever you have a trip to Europe in mind and you are not completely locked in, so let me know. I think the mountain is still here, so I would really enjoy to make that kind of happen. Because
I'd love that.
what we maybe did, I mean, we didn't cover so many topics, but one of my biggest things I always really like to do whenever I have time is to go with people into nature. When I have the opportunity with my own family or with friends or whoever I can take to nature, it's always such a blast to experience about feet, body, movement over there, and it's just fun. It's just a good time to share together. So whenever you come up to Europe and you have a day or two, let me know in advance so we will try to organize something.
Count me in. That final part of our conversation has stayed with me ever since. I never made it over to Europe in time to take Robert up on his kind offer to go exploring nature together in the mountains. But that invitation speaks to the kind of person he was. Someone who lived for movement, for adventure, and for sharing that love with others. And that is how he would tragically lose his life. Robert's legacy will continue through every step taken in the shoes he created and the countless people he's inspired to reconnect with their feet and the earth beneath them. Rest in peace, Robert. Thank you for everything.